Welcome to the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout here at CIOE 97.5 FM. I'm your host, Maurice Aucoin, and we are streaming live to the world at www.communityradio.ca. We are going to discuss and celebrate independent artists' music from all over the Atlantic region and beyond. Let's all get on the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout right now.
Sitting on an old box, wishing he had dry socks. No joke, his clothes were rags. He was scratching at a long beard, trying to get his mind cleared, with a bottle in a brown paper bag. He thought he might stand up, but he wasn't having much luck. When he spoke out loud, he was praying. He said, "Carry me, come on, carry me. Carry me one more mile. Oh, carry me, Lord, carry me. I heard you do that once in a while." On Down Street in East Main, there was a sudden and an awful pain, and he was not one for complaining. He leaned his head against the window. From his eyes he let the water flow. Took one hard drink from the bag. He remembered what his daddy said, and some poetry his mama read. Something about footprints in the sand. He said, "Carry me, come on, carry me. Carry me one more mile. Oh, carry me, Lord, carry me. I heard you do that once in a while." It was lay down or fall down when the bottle hit the hard ground. He wrapped both arms round his knees, and the sun come through the black sky. Heard a voice saying, "You can fly." But he closed his tired eyes and whispered, "Carry me, carry me, carry me." He said, "Carry me, carry me. Come on, carry me. Carry me, carry me one more mile. Oh, carry me, carry me. Lord, carry me. Carry me. I heard you do that once in a while. Come to you, carry me, come to you as a child. This ain't Cohen's wire and wood. I can't write 'em like he could. Make a minor fall or major lift. All that Cohen had quite a gift. And I'm not Vegas in the rain, letting lights and shadows hide my shame. Now where I'm cut there's always pain. I'm not Vegas in the rain. I won't be your Honeywell. You can sit and rest a spell. Check what's underneath my hood. this box of wire and wood. Old rose pine and inlaid pearl, like a teenage lover girl. She'll come around but not too fast. You got to make the music last. I offer up my sultry sound, pretend that Cohen's still around. You might think I'm pretty good, but this ain't Cohen's wiring wood. This ain't Cohen's wiring wood, and I can't write 'em like he could. And you might think I'm pretty good, but this ain't Cohen's wiring wood. Yeah, you might think I'm pretty good, but this ain't Cohen's wiring wood.
Well, here we are in the roundabout, and I'm so pleased to have Addison Locke with me today. And I can't believe that after 7 albums, is it you have?
Yeah, yeah.
We've only recently connected, and it was at a mutual friend's. Tony Trimper had a nice little dockside shows, or whatever he calls them, nice little spot he has on the lake. I can't wait to talk about your music and your craft. And first of all, you had this CD with you at the time. And I went right into my van, and I drive an older vehicle. I'm a typical musician. I can't afford a new one. But the good news is that it has a CD player, a working CD player.
That is good.
Yeah, and I put the CD in there, and I could not believe, first of all, how good it is. This is the one that J.P. Cormier produced, I believe.
Yeah.
Wire and Wood.
Yeah.
I'm especially smitten on the song Heroes. But it's an 11 songs, a full length, and you've got 7 full-length records out?
Yeah, I do.
So you've got better part of 100 songs written, my friend.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm sure. Yeah.
When did this all start?
This is, you know what, I think it was 1985. You know, I fell in love with Sunny Stream. And they were doing a bunch of versions of it at the time. And, you know, Ron's was slower. And the original one was slower. And someone come out with an upbeat, fast one. And so I'm not sure how untypical I was, but I never had credit at the time, so I managed to get a $500 credit card, which I used to buy a Fender guitar, and I spent 6 months learning that song, fresh out of a relationship and into my first apartment by myself. So then I put on a show at a party, and I never looked back.
So your first show was one song?
One song. I just kept repeating it. And
He has to start somewhere. You're not born with a guitar in your hand.
No, that's right. And
I'm sure the first guitar was no Gibson either.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I recently sold it. I auctioned it off. I written 2 CDs on that album.
Fantastic.
2 or 3 on that guitar. So I affixed the guitar, the albums and their cases on the guitar itself, and then auctioned off the whole package. So
that must have been kind of difficult for you to do.
It was. The family wasn't pleased, but I needed the cash in. That was it.
Oh, that's really cool, though. I mean, you've got some very loyal fans. They're the ones that would appreciate that, and you'd probably get top dollar for that at an auction.
Yeah, absolutely, and I did.
Mean, and you're a household name in certain places. I mean, that's what I mean. You were saying, like, you have super fans, and
I do.
That's not something that you just fluke into. It's also not something you take for granted. And a lot of artists, they strive to have that, and that's what, like I said, if you're not touring and like the pandemic and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I mean, your fan base, if it's loyal, it'll see you through.
Yeah, and they did, and they saw me through with the smallest of house concerts, but they always met my minimum fees, and never questioned them, and never said it's too much, or they just made it happen, and they got me through some pretty challenging times, and so one of the reasons we haven't known each other over the years, Maurice, is I built my career on house concerts and small promotions in small halls. And there was no need to go to cafes and restaurants and bars. And I just wanted my songs to speak for themselves and to have longevity and to tell a story of who Addison Locke is and the people around him. And it started out with community, the characters in my community, the guy who picked up the trash on the street in Bridgewater, it was about him, and it was about my dad, and it was about my mom, and it was sisters, brothers, etc. It started out that way, and they were loved and endeared, but it grew from there. I moved out of my own community into writing songs a little bit like there's a song that maybe we'll mention called Heroes, and that's not a song about my community. It's a song. It's a heartbreak song is what it is. So I've taken from the community and from the individuals and expanded. I will say this about the pandemic, that when the pandemic came and I was isolated, I isolated for like 3 months, just I thought it would go away. If I isolated, the minute that I isolated, I started a 2-hour-a-day practice regime. And so for 18 months, I was doing 2 hours a day and, 6-7 days a week. And I discovered I upped my game tenfold, and not just in writing, but in my vocal range and my vocal skills and my nuance and my guitar playing, took it to the next level.
I met her in a honky-tonk, bedazzled by me donkey-donk. She said she would if I dared, I could be in trouble. I thought we'd get a weird tattoo or skinny dip a time or two, but she put something in my brew, I could be in trouble. I could be in trouble here, getting married on a double dare. There's a preacher and a lawyer here, but they're both wearing Elvis hair. Her mama called me on the phone, said I should bring some diapers home, said her other husband might not care. Look, I could be in trouble. Well, the bridesmaid has a 3-day beard. There's a biker sitting over there, and 2 more on the exits there. I think I'm in trouble. Yes, the doo-doo answered 911, send them good old boys just having fun. If you're not home by Monday, son, I guess I could send someone. I could be in trouble here, getting married on a double dare. There's a preacher and a lawyer here, but they're both wearing Elvis hair. Her mama called me on the phone, said I should bring some diapers home, said her other husband might not care. I could be in trouble. Oh, mama, it's me, Addison. Yeah, I'm in trouble, mama. Mama, no, I cannot speak up, mama. I know this isn't the first time, mama. I know. Hey, listen, mama, put daddy on the phone. Daddy, wait a minute. Alimony, I am not signing no papers. No, daddy, I'm in trouble. I need you to track my phone, daddy. You need to call the police, daddy. Daddy, I'm losing my signal. Daddy, send in the drones. I could be in trouble here, getting married on a double dare. There's a preacher and a lawyer here, but they're both wearing Elvis hair. Her mama called me on the phone, said I should bring some diapers home, said her other husband might not care. I could be in trouble. Her other husband might not care. I could be in trouble here.
We'll We'll be right back with the Atlantic Indie Roundabout here on CIOE 97.5 FM. You are listening to the Atlantic Indie Roundabout with me, your host, Maurice Aucoin.
I was sitting in a bar, in a booth near the wall. My Charlene was sitting with me. We were minding our own, no one making a fuss, when that girl came walking past us. I looked back at Charlene, just imagine the scene. She had a look on her face that was mean. Then she asked that question, we all know the one. Was that girl prettier than me? Well, I just sat there grinning, my mind it was spinning. You know this is hard for a man. And Charlene just kept staring while I was preparing, and she had a fork in her hand. So I said with a smile that seemed true, there's nobody sweeter than you. And you might have given my back a pat if I'd only left it at that. I said a pretty face means nothing to me, and all of our friends would agree. Personality matters a lot, and honey, that's one thing you've got. But did you see that dress that she wore? There were no bra or panties for sure, and that wouldn't be fair to compare to the old cotton bloomers you own. Well, Charlene's brown eyes filled with hate, and she spit in my dinner plate, and all I remember is pain. They'll never use that fork again. But her breasts were so firm and her high beams were on. There was light in my eyes, this is true. Her cheekbones were high and her eyes were so blue. No, that girl had nothing on you. And did you see that dress that she wore? There were no bra or panties for sure. And I'd tell you more, but at last that girl walked by too fast. Yeah, I'd tell you more, but at last that girl walked by too fast. Well, I left my island home to find my freedom and my fortune way too soon. But I'd heard about Alberta, so I set out for my share of that boom. And I suppose I found the money, but those city lights can't beat the salt air moon, or ocean breezes in September, or Mama's kitchen on a Sunday afternoon. So I'm leaving Alberta, I'll find my way to Nova Scotia. I'll drop down to see the blue nose in Lunenburg. I'll keep east through Cape Breton, where I'll catch that long haul ferry back to Newfoundland, the island of my birth. Well, I heard my daddy hurt his back, and I suppose that he could use a hand. I'm young enough to make a difference, and heaven knows I surely love that man. And Mama's not herself these days. Twice last month she called me Uncle Stan. So I've put in my notices, I'm heading home to Newfoundland. So I'm leaving Alberta, I'll find my way to Nova Scotia. I'll drop down to see the Blue Nose in Lunenburg, and I'll keep east through Cape Breton, where I'll catch that long-haul ferry back to Newfoundland, the island of my birth. But I'll sell this Cadillac, and I'll pick up a good old four-wheel drive. When I pull in the driveway, they'll come running out, happy I've arrived. And I'll tell them that I'm sorry, and we'll wipe the tears from our eyes. And we'll walk down to the water, and for the first time in years I'll be alive. I'm leaving Alberta, I'll find my way to Nova Scotia. I'll drop down to see the Blue Nose in Lunenburg, and I'll keep east through Cape Breton, where I'll catch that long-haul ferry back to Newfoundland, the island of my birth. I'll keep east through Cape Breton, where I'll catch that long-haul ferry back to Newfoundland, the island of my birth. Newfoundland, the island of my birth.
You were talking about this when you did the album. You did it with J.P. Cormier. He produced your album, and you told me when you heard the album, it's your album, but you really hear J.P. It's like a J.P. production.
Huge.
But for you to delegate that to him to do that and trust him with that, knowing very well that is going to happen.
Now, I will say this, that that's the second album I did with JP. So the first album was an album called Home.
So that must have been a great experience working with him to do another one. So, yeah.
I'm a very sensitive man, and I think it shows in my songs. My heart is on my sleeve, and I don't think I'll be speaking out of turn when I say that although JP's heart is not on his sleeve, he's a very sensitive man too, and he's very sensitive in the studio. So he feels the nuance of the song, and we'll be crying to the song, just to the perfect lyric that just happened. And I wrote JP a song. Didn't make the album. One day it's called Me and John Paul. And it's about our time in the studio, where we were searching for that. Maurice, you'll know, as a producer, you'll know when you're in there with the right guy or gal, and you're working a song, but you're looking for, I'm going to say, a lick or a change of a lyric or one word, and you're searching. It's almost like you're searching the walls and the ceilings and the nuance and the energy of the room. But when it comes, it's the most beautiful, correct thing that ever happened. And see, I get emotional because that's how I'm emotional now about that, because it's so beautiful when it happens, when you're able to find the secret. And so JP and I are, we're working on something, and suddenly the energy will fill and the right thing will come out, and there's no need to discuss it anymore. It's got to get down, and so JP has that sensitivity. He's a master. He's a master of his instruments, and a great vocalist and a great songwriter. It was clear that we were sort of kindred spirits in the studio, and so the next album, the next album, the Wire and Wood album, was a no-brainer for me. I was going to him, and we were going to work this out. So
JP sees music. He doesn't just hear music; he sees it. To him, it's like a third dimension.
Terry Pelham did my latest album. He's a producer of my latest album. Terry owns some amazing studios in Halifax, probably the studios in Halifax through the 80s, 90s. He's now teaching music at I believe at a community college here in the Valley. And at the end, I said, I drew out a picture. It was a line of hills and valleys and whatever. And I said, I need the album to look like this. And he said, man, do you realize there's people spend $30,000 to learn what you just did, to turn a song or an album into a visual representation. But it's something that I think it's just, I want to be careful because maybe it's most musicians, but we underestimate it, or we put it down here when it needs. And I think it's valuable up here and say, oh no, this is what I see, and let the visual fall, lead you. So
to naturally be able to do that, I don't know if that's a natural gift or an acquired skill. I do not know, but for you to do that picture, and for him to say, wow, maybe some people just never get it. I don't know. How many years have you been have you been performing live and calling this your job, making this your career?
I would say 17.
Yeah, so you're pushing 20 years. 20 years, 7 albums is like you're talking nearly 100 songs there.
Yeah.
You know how many guys can do that in a career?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That you're the real deal. You're a songwriter, and there's no doubt after nearly 20 years and 7 albums, there's crowd favorites. They know the words to your songs. They know your songs, and they don't. And you're not getting out of there alive unless you play those songs.
I play them. That's right.
And I was talking to Matt Mays just a couple weeks ago. We were talking about this, talking with song placement and picking singles and stuff like that. He says you don't do that. Your fans do.
Right. Well said.
And if you don't play what the crowd wants, we say if you play what the crowd wants to hear. When you're a cover band, you're a trench worker. And if you have a fan base that can pick your songs like that and want to hear your requests, there's nothing more fulfilling as a musician or a songwriter.
I consider it a miracle. I consider it a miracle. There's, one woman, God bless her soul, she's gone now. Because she organized my U.S. tour, and she billeted me, and she made sure I got to see everybody who was a player. And but she traveled from Weymouth, Massachusetts, several times just to see my show. Drive up 12, 13 hours one way. That's a fan. That's I don't know what to do for you. I don't almost
feel it's so humbling.
When I was recording with JP, he put me on. Him and I did a live. Facebook Live, and he said, "Hey, this is Addie Locke, and this is the best songwriter I've met, and bar none or something." And I was like, "Jesus, man, come on, man, I'm just a songwriter, right?" And he said, "You got to hear this guy," and in 15 minutes, 5,000 people come on there, and well, she was one of them, and she said, "I got to know this guy," so she researched me a bit. JP was doing a show with the Nova Scotia Orchestra, and so she was coming up to see that, and she said, "I got an extra ticket. Why don't we go together?" And I said, "Cool." So I didn't know who she was, but I'm an alma mater at St. Mary's University, so the Goresbrook Lounge there. And I said, "Let's go up early. I'll take my guitar. I'll do you a little show at the Goresbrook Lounge." And so I did, and we became instant friends. And she said, "You gotta do this, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, whatever we can make happen down there." And so she just started and went to work. So again, it was through JP. And the beauty of it was the highlight of my entire 35 years was I got to play with the Eastern Massachusetts Philharmonic Orchestra featured me down there. That she had set that up, and so I'm on stage with 100 most amazing, and I decided to sing two of my own songs, and one I sang, but all East Coast. So I said I'm gonna do it East Coast style. So I did Working Man, Rita McNeil's Working Man. I did a song called Beautiful, which is about my stepdad, which was a huge success down there, and a song called Home, which is the title of that album there, the Home album. And at one point in the show, they have their musical, their solo musical interlude, and I'm turning around and I'm just, tears are in my eyes, and I just cannot believe what's happening here to Addison Locke. This is insane. I'm in, anyway, so much so that I got caught up in the beauty of their music, and at the last second I realized I was supposed to be singing, and I sort of saved the day. But for that moment to be, I remember thinking specifically, be in this moment, Addison, be in this moment, because it may never happen again. And so, yeah, a highlight of my whole career.
Those are pinch me moments,
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we're gonna take a break here. We're gonna check out some of this album and some more Addison Locke, and we're gonna continue this conversation in just a few minutes.
I know an old fellow, a dear friend of mine. I met him when I was a lad. He married my mama, and I was so glad. But that's not what made him my dad. What makes this man so beautiful is not how he lights up a day. No, what makes this stepdad a father is how he gives true love away. A gentle old soul came into our lives and pulled us up out of the mud and gave our family a hero. Proved love could be thicker than blood. The veteran of World War II, a Navy man through and through. He's proud of his Newfoundland childhood, and those arrows still makes him feel good. I know he's God's gift to Mama, and I know he always will be. But I know that Mama has seen that he's also been God's gift to me. What makes this man so beautiful not how he lights up a day. No, what makes this stepdad a father is how he gives true love away. A gentle old soul came into our lives and pulled us up out of the mud. Gave our family a hero, and proved love could be thicker than blood, and gave our family a hero, and proved love could be thicker than blood. He proved love could be thicker than blood.
Welcome back to the Atlantic Indie Roundabout with me, your host, Maurice Aucoin.
1, 2, 3. I saw Robin Hood on the bridge last night and made Marion at the local 5 and dime. I saw Superman near a panel van. In the shadows he was pulling up his fly. And Captain America was getting drunk on 15th Avenue. He had Wonder Woman heart on his side. I think she had a little something, something too. I heard Wolverine broke a nail and been crying in his drink all afternoon. And Magneto's making buckets in a plastics factory in Saskatoon. Peter Parker's at the Tribune giving love advice at minimum wage. And Mary Jane is staying home these days. There's another set of quints on the way. Oh, where have all my heroes gone? I really need you. Please come out to play. There's this hole in the ozone and the ocean needs you every other day. Or you could crawl inside this brain. Help me fix this mess that woman made. Well, the silver streak stopped streaking and his surfboard has sustained a crack or two. And my hawk is just not hawking. He's teaching yoga at the Banner Institute. Peter Pan does the best he can, but it's just so much a 3-foot boy can do. Captain Hook is sailing 7 seas, but he's doing it with a skeleton crew. Well, Batman had a CAT scan and it seems he got a tumor on his brain. They put his stuff up for auction and Robin snuck a bid in on the cave. And Tarzan's a crazy man. He's hunting crocodiles off the coast of Maine. 'Cause Jane left him months ago for a chick she met in San Francisco Bay. Oh, where have all my heroes gone? I really need you. Please come out to play. There's this hole in the ozone and the ocean needs you every other day. Or you could crawl inside this brain and help me fix this mess that woman made. Or you could crawl inside this brain, help me fix this mess that woman made. I saw Robin Hood on the bridge last night and made Marion at the local 5 and dime.
Here we are back in conversation with Addison Locke, and we're discussing big shows and songwriting and working with J.P. Cormier and Dave Gunning, and not bad for a little guy from Bridgewater.
Exactly.
So, my favorite song on the album, Wire and Wood, Heroes. I'd love to get the story on Heroes. I absolutely adore that song.
Oh,
and it hit me. I actually pulled over. I was listening to it in my van, and I actually pulled over to listen to it, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like, is he really saying these things about Batman and Tarzan's going crazy? And yeah, you know what? The song it's a heartbreak song, but it's, you know, I had written, you know, my wife left about 5 or 6 years ago, and I credit her to a lot of songs that I've written. A lot of them were sad and lonely songs and stories of, you know, me and my guitar and whatnot, and that was wonderful. But I was sitting in the living room one day, and I said, where are all the heroes, man? You know, I could use a hero right now. And I thought, well, the first line, I saw Robin Hood on the bridge last night and made Marion at the local Five and Dime. And in other words, Robin's about to jump off the bridge, and trying to get that across. It's not very clear there, but people have asked me, is Robin committing suicide? And I said, I think he is, yeah. So, so I was trying to say that, they've become passé and unimportant and seem to have disappeared. And they were so big in my youth, Robin Hood and we used to Rocket Robin when I was a kid. It was a cartoon that I loved to watch, and Superman and I started thinking about the heroes of Captain America and Wonder Woman and the Hulk is my favorite of all of them, and so I started, well, where are they? So I just tell the story of where they are and where I think they are and the trouble that they're in, and them and their wives and their partners, and then I come back together and say, I need you, and come in, shrink yourself and come in this brain and fix it, so that ended up to be one of the funner songs.
I totally got that. I mean, it's eloquent. And you were saying that some people was a little vague. It wasn't with me at all. You're describing exactly what I heard. I heard Robin jumping off the bridge. He was probably being bullied or abused. He was in an abusive relationship with Batman. And I totally got what you were getting at with that song. You couldn't have wrote it clearer if you had painted on the side of a building with rollers. It's a wonderful and elegant way to deal with sensitive issues. So the title track, Wirewood, obviously that's a song written about your love affair with your guitar.
Honestly, it's in the top 5 favorite songs I've ever written. So that's about me. I'm upfront and I'm honest, and my guitar is inlaid pearl, but it's just is wood with inlaid pearl, and you got to treat her just right, and you'll get everything you want. You can check under the hood, but you're going to have to do it just right. And so so that's why it's in the top 5 of my songs, because it is so incredibly personal about Addison Locke. Yeah.
Typically, when you do a gig, 25, 30 songs. You got 7 albums here. Do you represent all the albums? Yeah,
I try to, which is super hard for me. Super. I'm looking at the list and I say, my goodness, I didn't sing this one and I didn't sing this one, and so yeah.
Well, there you go. What we should do? I think we should take a listen to it. What do you think?
All right, cool. All right, very cool.
This is a wonderful interview. We could talk all day.
I know.
It happens every time I get somebody in the roundabout, and you're no exception. And I hope you get another 7 albums so we can continue this conversation into the...
Super cool.
Well, you're a hidden treasure, and hopefully you won't stay so hidden in the coming months and years. But anyway, once again, thank you very much for spending some time with us, and I can't wait for the world to hear more of your music.
Thank you,
and
man.
Have a great day. Thank you.
It was the summer of '93. Billy Green and me were spending time at the local county jail. I was wearing boots, he was wearing county shoes. That didn't mean that much to Bill and me. We've been meeting there for years. I'd seen his happy and his tears, but this time was different, so it seemed. His eyes were black as coal, and I couldn't see his soul. I guess that he had given up on dreams. Did you find your bottom, Billy Green? At the end of the rope you fashioned from your prison sheets? Did you see the light? Was it like climbing up high and jumping out of your mama's willow tree? I put my mouth on his mouth. I tried to blow them demons out, and I prayed that he wouldn't go this way, that he would one day be on high where the jasper walls would shine, but he would not be going there today. Did you find your bottom, Billy Green? At the end of the rope you fashioned from your prison sheets? Or did you see the light? Was you like climbing up high and jumping out your mama's willow tree? And when I cut you down and I brought you back around, did you wish for a minute I let you be? Or did you find some hope at the end of that rope? Did you find your bottom, Billy Green? Did you find your bottom, Billy Green? At the end of the rope you fashioned from your prison sheets? Or did you see the light? Was it like climbing up high and jumping out your mama's willow tree? Or did you see the light? Was it like climbing up high and jumping out your mama's willow tree? Soldier, but I've never had a gun. I carry songs on my shoulder, hoping we shall overcome. But on this road, I'm not the only one following the thunder of the drum. And I am not rich, but I have more than I need. In the middle of this battlefield of money-driven greed, and the line's getting thinner now between right and wrong. You lift your voice, I'll beat the drum. Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land that if we stand and rise together, there's change within our power. I am preaching to the choir, sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir, sing it louder. Let's sing for the living upon the land and in the sea. Let's sing out for justice. Let's sing what we believe. As the world turns round and round, may we one by one all join hands and beat the drum. Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land that if we stand and rise together, there's change within our power. I am preaching to the choir, sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir, sing it louder. So raise your voices now. We can make this world through the eye of
Just an echo in the distance was played before. More suffering and hardship, more cruelty and war. But before we stop and rest, we must pass it on. For the young to march and beat the drum.
Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land that if we stand and rise together, there's change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder.
We really hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Atlantic Indie Roundabout with our guest, Addison Locke. But before we go, we're going to play a song by longtime friend, singer and songwriter, Mark Welner. It's a song called I Did Not. I know you'll dig it. And on that note, we'd like to say, from our village to yours, take care and good night.
So I said goodbye. I said goodbye. I said goodbye. I said goodbye. Bye bye. Even romance, but I know now I should've never give you a second chance. Well, people say I hurt you, and what I did was wrong. I know now you are already gone. I did not see you falling. I did not hear you cry. I did not hear you calling. So I said goodbye. I said goodbye. I said goodbye. I said goodbye.
gone. Well, some days I get lonely, some nights I do cry. I can't forget you, but I'm gonna try. Now I did not see you falling, I did not hear you cry, I did not hear you calling. So I said goodbye, I said goodbye, I said goodbye, I said goodbye. No, I did not see you falling, I did not hear you cry, I did not hear you calling. So I said goodbye, I said goodbye, I said goodbye, I said goodbye. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Now I did not see you falling, I did not hear you cry, I did not hear you calling. So I said goodbye, I said goodbye, so I said goodbye, so I said goodbye.
Join me, Maurice Aucoin, every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. here at the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout on CIOE 97.5 FM and streaming to the world at www.communityradio.ca, where we'll be discussing and celebrating the music from independent artists from all over this region and beyond. Be sure to join us in the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout here at CIOE 97.5.